Hey everybody, my name is Lowell and welcome to the channel. So we're continuing our discovery of American sports. So this time we're going to look at NASCAR. Now, the only thing I know about NASCAR is Days of Thunder. So be gentle. So I only know that because there's an Australian in the movie. But anyway, let's jump into a beginner's guide to NASCAR. Now we have our own, obviously, racing in Australia, V8 supercars. I don't know anything about NASCAR. Let's jump in and let's discover it, shall we? Let's go. Oh, bam.
It's fast, it's loud, and it's about as American as it gets. I'm talking, of course, about NASCAR.
Woo.
To many people over here in Europe, NASCAR seems somewhat impenetrable as a series. I mean, stages? Playoffs? Competition cautions?
What the?
But with the NASCAR Cup Series off-season in full swing, I thought it would be a great idea to try and introduce it to some of you folk who may not be so familiar with the series.
So, are all the tracks just like this, just like a circle or oval? Okay.
This is the beginner's guide to NASCAR.
Okay.
The NASCAR Cup Series held its first race on June the 19th, 1949 in Charlotte, North Carolina, which makes it officially older than Formula One. Since then, a lot has changed in the sport, going from nearly showroom fresh street cars that still have the bench seats and the AM radios installed, all the way to today's high-tech space frame chassis monsters. Modern cars feature a 358 cubic inch naturally aspirated V8 engine, which transmits power to the rear wheels through a 4-speed H-pattern gearbox. Up front, double wishbone suspension is featured with a live rear axle at the rear. Driving aids such as traction control and anti-lock brakes are prohibited. The space frame chassis is covered in a 24 gauge sheet metal body that has to conform to strict templates for each manufacturer and is customized for each type of track visited.
Oh, customized?
The NASCAR Cup Series
customized for each track. Oh, damn.
Visits 4 main types of track, each one with entirely different requirements in terms of setups and racing style.
Okay.
The most common is the Speedway. These are between 1 and 2 miles in length and can vary in shape, from the D shape of Charlotte in Kentucky to the more paperclip shape of Homestead, Miami. These are seen as the standard track in NASCAR and boomed from the late 1990s to today. Despite being the most modern tracks, fans often lament the fact that the tracks are somewhat samey and offer less interesting racing than the other circuits. Wait, cookie-cutter tracks that produce mediocre racing replacing classic venues we all know and love? See, F1 fans? We aren't alone after all. Next up are the short tracks. These ovals of less than 1 mile in length include Martinsville Speedway and Richmond Raceway in Virginia, as well as Bristol Speedway in Tennessee. NASCAR short track racing offers close contact racing and a very high level of intensity from start to finish, which often leads to drama both on the track.
The 2017 champion, will he get the bumper? Yes, he does! Here comes Logano! Logano on the inside, a drag race, they're sideways! And it's going to be Logano getting the win!
And off the track.
Hey, stop! Stop! Stop!
What the? I don't think they'll stop
Up
it.
third are the road courses, because yes, NASCAR does feature right turns, and yes, it does race in the rain on these tracks. although not on the ovals because, well,
Cook and maybe Joe Nemechek, I haven't seen if he came out or not. But these are guys that are trying to make the race. Oh, we got trouble. I think it's raining.
Oh, God.
It is raining on the back straightaway. Over the racetrack.
What happened, Aaron?
What the?
Mike Bliss, one of those that broke free. You see the 97 of Joe Nemechek and heavy damage.
That's Benny Gordon, the 91 car.
To Benny Gordon at 91 machine.
Dang.
the series mixes up both oval-derived road courses like the ones at Daytona and Charlotte,
Daytona.
as well as the likes of Watkins Glen, Sonoma Raceway, and, as of 2021, the Circuit of the Americas.
Okay.
Finally, there are the super speed.
Only one I've ever heard of is Daytona. Only because obviously he used to play that game as a kid as well.
Speedways.
Okay.
The super speedways of Daytona and Talladega are probably what you would think of first when someone mentions NASCAR to you. The circuits are high speed and are all about staying in the draft from the car in front. The result is incredible pack racing, with huge lines of cars going 2, 3, and sometimes even 4 wide for lap after lap, and then occasionally causing a massive pileup.
Damn.
On a side note, you may notice something different about the cars when they compete on the short tracks. On ovals over 1.3 miles in length, the cars will run at 550 brake horsepower and have a large rear spoiler. At 8 inches tall, it is so high that at the top a transparent section has to be included so that the drivers can see something other than their own car in their rearview mirror. This large spoiler creates lots of drag and aids drafting and overtaking at the bigger tracks. In contrast, at the short tracks, the rear spoiler is reduced to 2 3/4 inches in height, and power is increased to 750 brake horsepower to ensure that dirty air doesn't become an obstacle to good racing at the tracks without the large straights to allow for drafting. Right then, with that out of the way, it's finally time to throw the green flag and start the race.
Look at the crowd.
If you're coming straight from watching Formula One, it's worth remembering that the excitement in the race tends to be the reverse of Formula One's. The most exciting laps tend to be right towards the finish, so just settle in and enjoy for now. Okay, so we're a short way into the race. The order has settled for the time being, and what's this? A caution? Is there rain on our speedway? No. Is there debris around? No.
What's the
Has a car
caution
crashed
for?
somewhere? Nope. This is a competition caution. The competition caution has been seen a lot through 2020 thanks to the scrapping of qualifying and practice sessions. But in a normal race, it is only really thrown if there's been a change in the track conditions since qualifying, usually brought about by overnight rain. It allows the teams to come in and adjust the setups of their cars to suit the new conditions and to change tyres. Ordinarily, cars would lose a lap to the leader in most tracks if they pitted under green flag conditions, so teams would be hesitant to come in and make the changes. Under all cautions, the first car that is a lap down is allowed to unlap itself, which is known as the free pass. So, the caution period's all sorted and it's almost time for the restart. On the final lap, under caution, the choose cone comes into effect. This is a painted V-shape on the track just after the start-finish line. Drivers will need to make a tactical choice on whether to take the preferred racing line on the restart or take the worst line, but perhaps start in a higher position as a result. It's only a minor rule introduced in 2020, but so far it's actually really mixed up the running order and produced quite a lot of excitement on the restarts. Now, every motorsport fan around the world has experienced the same conversation with someone at some point in their lives. You know, the one that usually comes to an abrupt end when the other person says something like, I don't know, I only watch the first and last laps because they're the only interesting ones. Well, a few years ago in a NASCAR meeting in some swanky hotel, no doubt, they were having a big discussion about that exact thing. So, how do we get people to watch more of the race if they're only interested in the first and last laps? I know, you've just got to have more of them first laps and last laps, ain't you? You know, oh, if you excuse me, I'm off to the bar on the company credit card. Wait. That's absolutely genius! Jenkins, you're a madman! I love you!
Yeah, but how are you going to do that?
And that's kind of how we ended up with stage racing. The race is broken up by the green and white checkered flag 2 times in every race, apart from the Coca-Cola 600. The caution is thrown out, everybody pits, and we go through the whole restart period again that I just mentioned a bit ago. At the end of each stage, points are awarded to the top 10 finishers, along with a playoff point to the driver who was in the lead at the end of the stage. But we'll get to the playoff points in a little bit. So, we've navigated our way through the race. We've survived cautions, restarts, the stages, and the inevitable big one if we're dealing with a super speedway. That just leaves us with one final piece of NASCAR oddity to deal with, the championship format. Worried about how audiences tend to turn off after the championship is sealed, NASCAR introduced a system for the championship that guarantees that the title will be decided at the final race of the season. The first 26 races of the season form the regular season, where drivers are trying to qualify for the playoffs. Quite simply, win a race and you are in to the 16-car playoff field. So if we take the winners for the 2020 regular season, you'll get this as your playoff field. But hang on, only 11 drivers won a race during the regular season. So what now? Well, the top scoring drivers for the season so far fill out any remaining places, and then your playoff field is set. Now, only one of these 16 drivers can win the championship over the next 10 races. Once the field is set, everybody's points are reset, and then any playoff points accumulated throughout the season are added in, which gives drivers who've already booked a spot in the playoff right at the start of the season an incentive to keep on pushing. The round of 16 lasts for 3 races, and once again, you win a race and you advance to the next round. And then everybody else fights for points. After those 3 races are up, the bottom 4 are dumped out of the playoffs and can no longer win the championship. We repeat this after another 3 races, and then again, and so on, until 4 drivers are left ahead of the final race of the season. Whoever out of these 4 drivers finishes highest up the order is your NASCAR Cup Series champion. Well, that kind of just about covers it for now. I hope you enjoyed our little stateside journey together. If you did, then give it a like, let me know. And in the comments, let me know if there's any other series that you would like to have a little beginner's guide to. And see you next time.
So, a little different to what we have in Australia. I think we have, I'm not too sure, I think it's 16 races in Australia. And then obviously whoever wins each race just gets the points. And at the end of the year, at the end of the race, at the final race, you just get the winner. This is completely different, isn't it? So there's kind of guessing the whole season, who's going to win. There's not one clear winner for the whole season, so everybody watches the whole season. So, I mean, I guess it does come down to, you know, bums on seats, you know, eyes in front of the TV, to be able to get that sponsorship money and the money from it. So, but interesting racing. So, as I said, I'm complete newbie when it comes to NASCAR. So, I still have some questions as well too. That final race with the final 4, is it only 4 of them racing, or is everybody then back racing? And I don't know. It didn't really say. If you know, let me know. Let me know. It kind of wasn't real clear on who was racing in the last one. Interesting. So they do have obviously street circuits. Most of our racing tracks over here in Australia are street circuits. But yeah, that's very interesting. They didn't really go too much. I mean, obviously into the cars, I didn't say top speeds or anything like that. You know, so I'm assuming there will be another video that I can look at for that kind of information. But just kind of trying to get my head around that, the actual structure of the races, and then obviously the structure of the competition as well, like that competition caution. Stuff like that we don't have here. I guess it's a good way of kind of adjusting for the race, but on the fly, you know. So as he said, you know, if it's been raining or something, the track changes, you know, they can call this competition caution, and then everybody kind of get more settled into the race, you know, set up your car a little bit better for a better race, basically. So they're obviously still trying to give the audience who come and watch it, that look like a massive stadium as well, watch it live and obviously on TV screens, the best race that they can have, you know. So, you know, more competition, that, you know, fighting, you know, for first place all the time, instead of one clear winner every race. It kind of gives more incentive to watch all the time. So I can understand that. We definitely don't have that here. Interesting. It's an interesting kind of competition, isn't it? So as you said, you know, they went from bog standard cars in 1949 to these kind of very, very, you know, very highly tuned sports cars. So definitely need to delve more into the car. So, but that was a good introduction. Still trying to get my head around it. Very interesting to watch. As I said, you know, to introduce more of that, you know, first lap and last lap drama into a whole race. So, interesting. That's interesting. Good for the spectator, for sure. But obviously, maybe even good for the race teams as well. Didn't really go into that either. So, I'd like to learn a little bit more, I think. This was a good, obviously, benchmark. We definitely need to add to this as well. So if you've got a video suggestion on NASCAR, let me know down there. I'm assuming it's like, you know, football, everybody has their favorite team, favorite driver, and I'm assuming they're all always loyal to that driver and that team. So definitely got a little bit heated there in the pits on one of those videos for sure. So we definitely need to do a bit more delving into this one. So let me know if you enjoyed that, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure you stay safe, and I will definitely see you in the next reaction video. Did you enjoy that video? Why not watch another one?